Okay. Well, welcome to week 5. Believe it or not, boy, I tell you, time moved pretty fast since August 8th when you guys first started here. And I have a bulletin for you, which you already know, is that on Friday, which will be the 7th, there will be 7 more days of class. And the quarter, the 5.5 will be over and done. And so all your assignments have to be in. I'm going to have the amazing job of the last weekend of grading 2 weeks' work, which it's a lot of work. But that following Monday, the 14th is Friday, the 15th is Saturday, then the 16th is Sunday. So by the 17th at midnight, I have to have all your grades in, and I have 5 classes that I teach, about 130 something students. So I will be like glued to my seat grading papers and stuff like that. So anyway, yeah. So it's gone pretty fast. I have really enjoyed, and I guess I should save it for next week, but I've really enjoyed actually teaching. This has been one of my favorite classes I've taught because we have contemporaneous activity that's going on, information that keeps coming up. I just got a message just a day or so ago to attend a seminar that's put on in the neighborhood, Joliet area where I live. I don't live in Joliet, but that's the area. And I was just sent this message about a seminar that's taking place, and it's going to have people, law enforcement, and everything, and it's about the opioid crisis. So I'm going to try to go to that if I can get in my schedule. But there's a lot of things, and I'm sure that in the area where you guys live, if you keep your ears tuned, you can go to sessions or seminars that will enhance your education that you're learning in this class. So anyway, so without any further ado, let's get right into the materials here. Okay. Yeah. Oh, wow. That sounds human trafficking. Wow. That was probably very informative. Yeah. You know, you're amazed at the things that are happening around you, and you'll find out that actually that seminar that you went to, the session on human trafficking, it scares you because you know how close it is to where you actually are, that these things are happening, and it's right up under your nose there. But we're in an era now where you have to be very watchful, very careful about everything that's taking place. My daughter, she'll be 19 soon. She was telling me about a situation that happened. She just graduated from high school, and she was telling me about a situation that happened on their campus involving one of their classmates who disappeared suddenly. And there were people who were lurking on the campus who were actually basically, as it was discovered by the police department, they're recruiting females for that. But now they're even going now to middle school. My daughter, who is in my other daughter, she's in the 5th grade. They had the DARE officers to come out, but they were. I got to turn that down. they were discussing that very issue that's that's hitting now in the grammar schools, even, where they're grabbing kids. So it is terrifying. It is. So that's why you guys in your chosen fields, whether it's law enforcement, probation, parole, uh, caseworkers, social workers, whatever it is you're going to be doing in criminal justice, lawyers, um, we want you to be well informed and aware of what's going on around. So, yeah, it's definitely classroom does not take place within four walls anymore. Well, now we're virtual, but it takes place actually in your daily life. You could even be at Walmart and end up in the classroom, if you know what I'm talking about. Situations and circumstances that are happening. There have been situations of people who were kidnapped going to their cars at Walmart or stores like that. Primarily females, but and they caught it on video camera. You've seen some of that on social media, but you're right. You're right. It is absolutely terrifying, and but when we have those kind of things happen, we have to rise to the occasion of being able to be knowledgeable, and you have to be very careful. So that's what you got to do. So anyway, let's get right into our stuff here that we have. Again, I want to make my announcement that I did last week, and I said it again. Too many of you still, as I finished grading my week 3 materials, too many of you are still not getting the hang of doing APA. And it's not that hard to do with the resources that we have, but you got to take the time. Don't just dive right into the assignment. Make sure you use the rubric, and in the rubric, one of the issues that I keep seeing over and over is a lack of citations in the body. You guys are exposed to how it's done, and we want to make sure that you do, because you can lose 5 points right off the bat. And it's because people are jumping in and they think that references, and they even call those citations. No, citations are in the body of the paper. References are at the end on a reference page. Now, I know it may be beating a dead horse for some of you because you say, I already do that. I do that. I apologize. But it is important. As long as I continue to see it, I'm still going to come back and point it out. And some students have said, well, you're one of the professors that's really tough on it. Well, guess what? That's because I believe in excellence, and I teach my students from that perspective. And I'm going to continue to be that way. I'm not going to step away because I see a lot of students not doing it. I'm still going to give you the proper procedures. So it's citations in the body, references at the end, with a cover sheet. And also, it should be Roman 12. I haven't been dogmatic about the Roman 12, the font, but I am dogmatic about citations, references, and the cover sheet. The other issue that not as many I keep seeing in the assignments that are completed and submitted is not satisfying the minimum requirements. If it says 2 pages, people are doing 1.5 or 1 3/4, and you're losing points there as well. And it's not so much that I want you to be busy just throwing stuff in to fill it up. What we want you to be aware of is that it's been determined by those who put these courses together, and I understand, being one in the field, working as a professional for many, many years before coming to teaching, that in order to address the issues adequately in a academic scenario, that it you can't do it in less than a certain number of pages and not do justice to it. And remember, what we're doing here in school is we're learning how to use our critical thinking, our analysis, and that. And then the other thing that I'm addressing some of the things that people send me emails or call me and ask me about. Why do we have to do research? I says because it's one transferable skill, information literacy, recognizing the fact that everything is research now. Things are ever changing. And so students want to know, why can they just use their book, their textbook, and cite their textbook as a source? And I explained to them, you're doing yourself a disservice there, because the textbook is a source that was researched by the author or authors to come up with what you end up using. And so it behooves you to utilize the Library and Learning Center resources that you have in these classes, and to use all the resources that are provided to help you to be able to research, because you're going to be called upon in your professions to do research. You're going to have to produce information. So anyway, try to, again, and then there's I know it has to be a handful, it's not a lot, that actually will listen to the lecture and they'll speed past everything and go to try to find the key word. Don't do that. You're doing yourself a disservice, because you couldn't do that if you were in class physically. So this is taking the place of that. And I am one professor who believe in reviewing information, but at the same time going at something, or as I say, I'm a perfectionist. And I think that in the end, my students appreciate that. It's like castor oil when you're sick. It may not taste good when it's going down, but it'll make you feel better at the end. Well, hard work in class will make you feel good at the end when you end up on the dean's list and the honor roll, and you are able to be at the top of your classes, and then be able to be recruited for the best positions. And that's how I live my life, and that's what I advocate. So anyway, again, there's plenty of information for you. We're going to go again over the rubric for the assignments for this week. Notice again, we got one more lecture to go after today. The final lecture will be next Tuesday, the 11th, and September 11th. And so we will be having that lecture at the same time. Excuse me a minute. Okay, I had to move my mic because I was coughing there. But at any rate, all of them are archived. They're all here. You also have an email that I send you as well. And then I do give you a keyword there. All right, so now let's look at our Week 5 announcement. Drug-related criminal activity. Public health perspective. Last time we had the law enforcement, let's see, what is it? We had the law enforcement perspective. And so now we're going to deal with the public health aspect of it, which we've kind of interwoven in our discussions. So you're going to read Chapter 9 of your book and deal with the activities that we go over: drug addiction, the public health perspective, a video, chasing the dragon. Now, that's going to be a lengthy one. I kind of went over it before, but I'm going to try to get to that in a few minutes. It may take us a little longer, but you're going to find this chasing the dragon video It is. Let's see. Let me go back to that comment question. Uh, yeah. Wait. No, no, no. Drugs and crime. This is drugs and crime. Um, yeah. Wait a minute. Hold it 1 second. Let me look at my calendar here because I thought that I had it right here. Well, no, this lecture here is drugs and crime. That's the class that we're in right now. Oh, okay. Oh, you mean when you were in Intro to Criminal Law? That's what you both are talking about, right? I think I had either both of you or one of you in that class. That's what you're talking about. But yeah, this right now, this lecture that we're in right now is drugs and crime. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. Anyway, uh, make sure you're in the right class. Uh, okay. So anyway, in this course, we this chasing the dragon is going to be something. So anyway, we're going to go through that, and then indicators of use activity. Your written assignments for this week: your discussion, incarceration or treatment. And you know the initial post is due tonight, 11:59 p.m. Central Standard, and that the reply post is due Saturday, 11:59 p.m. Central Standard. Finally, the course project, Heroin and Addiction, One Person's Journey and the Quiz. I did share with you last week a really good book about that. Okay. All right. Uh, so that's all right. You can go or you could hang in here. It's okay. Yeah, I will be doing actually that next lecture at 8:30 Central Time. Uh, so in the same place. So I have students a lot of times that come, and that's what ends up taking place. So no, we're not doing introduction to criminal law right now. We're doing drugs and crime. All right. So anyway, so there's a quiz at the end. Okay, Laura left. Okay, but anyway, it's funny. Yeah. So anyway, yep. That's okay. That is all right. So thank you for hanging in there. So anyway, that's kind of funny. But you know what? Students say to me, how how is it that you do that? I says, think about it. If I was teaching in room 101 at 6 o'clock a class, and you had a class at 8 o'clock in that same classroom, and you got there early, you'd be there for the other topic. Well, that's the same kind of thing that's happening here. We're just using the virtual classroom instead. So, but anyway, that's the deal there with the announcements here. Let's quickly get to the calendar here. That's kind of it's funny when that happens. Okay. Doesn't bother me. Everybody can come to all the lectures as far as I'm concerned. I don't care. It's good. I'd be happy to have you. So today, this is where we are with your reading assignment. And again, I showed you click on that and it opens up and it tells you exactly what you have here. And then your initial post, your lecture, your reply post, and then your course project. That again, if I open it up, it's going to tell you to go to the module and rubric, which I encourage students to be sure to go to. And so that's it. So, and then you have your quiz. You have your quiz as well that you normally have here. So that's your assignments for the week. So now let's go right into the module. Week 5. As soon as it opens up, there we go. And again, you guys have an advantage. This Drugs and Crime course guide is awesome. If you haven't used it, you've been doing yourself a disservice. I'm not going to go to it because you should be familiar with it by now. It actually tells you each week a little bit more about the actual assignments, and it tells you all kinds of resources that are out there to help you. So I'm right now going to click on the Assignments tab, and it's going to open up, and it'll tell you specifically all the details of this assignment. Now you have to watch the video, Chasing the Dragon, the Life of an Opioid Addict. Don't worry about that. You're going to do that. We're going to do that today if you didn't get a chance to. And then you can also look at it on your own. But you're going to have to look at that video to do this part of the assignment. A minimum of 3 pages. Notice that that's always highlighted. And then it tells you the issues that we want you to address. And then it says, as I say this, rely on additional content beyond what you learned from the video. So you're going to do some research along with it. Again, back to my point. Our idea is to help you find details. Where can you do your research? In that guide that I shared with you, which gives you some places to find. And then finally, this little, whenever it's highlighted, that means you need to make sure that you pay close attention to this. Also, share your thoughts and observations from what you learned during the course project. Explain how you apply that knowledge you learned in your career. All that's going to be included in the assignment. A minimum of 3 pages, not counting the cover sheet. And by the way, please, and most of you have, make sure you submit your papers double spaced, not single spaced. And our process that we've had for all weeks and all assignments, 3 credible resources other than, and it says other than your textbook. Again, that's one of the requirements. No Wikipedia, you already know that, and so forth. And again, here's the promo again for the Drugs and Crime course guide. And it tells you, you could go to that and you can click and find out a little bit more about the assignments there. And then other than that, you have your discussion post. And then you have your quiz itself. It's a time quiz, 30-minute quiz, and you want to complete that. I usually encourage students to try to do that at the end of the week after they've gone over all the material, the PowerPoints I sent you that we don't use in the lectures, but they're for your information to help you. It's really an outline of your chapter. So backing up here, again, clicking on this, it tells you the due date, which is the 9th by 11:59 p.m. Central Standard. Tells you your possible points, and then it tells you the rubric, and you open it up, and there it is. And it tells you some of the same material that you saw in the body of the papers, just a little more bunched together. So you get 30 points for doing all of those things. And then the organization, 5 points. And then your APA that I started talking about earlier. And notice what it says. If anybody ever bothers to read it, it says, written in APA format with a title page, a reference page, proper spacing, paragraphs, indents, all sources properly cited as in-text citations. So it tells you what the requirements are to do APA. It just gives it to you right here. And so you want to make sure that you have your paper formatted with reference page separate. It should be a separate page, not continuing from the end of your paper. It's a separate sheet. So if you have 3 pages of your paper, your cover page might be 1, then 2, 3, and 4 would be the 3 pages minimum. And many of you have gone over that, which is awesome. And then the next page, which would be page 5 in the minimum standards, would be titled reference at the top, and then you have your references, which reflect the citations in the body as well. So that's what you want to do. So I'm not going to beat that one because you got it. All right. But again, very important that you go over that and don't just do the assignment. You guys write really good papers, but if you don't have those requirements satisfied, then it's going to cause you to lose 5 valuable points for APA, or 3 points for not having the right page length, or 3 points to 4 points for not having the 3 credible resources as well. So I read pretty fast in terms of looking at those things. All right. So now let's go to the lesson content, where we'll spend the rest of our time here, and maybe going over a little bit here. Okay, again, there are your assignments there. And so I'm just going to talk a little bit about that, and then we're going to go to the video. Okay, this indicators of use activity, I'm not going to do that. You do that on your own and those kind of things, because it'll help you to study and prepare for the exam, for the quiz. All right. So we already know we have an opioid crisis, and that it actually, contrary to probably what many people started thinking at first, maybe before you took this course, but now being made aware, either from personal experience with people that are close to you, or even maybe yourself, recognizing that individuals find themselves caught up in the opioid crisis by simply sometimes getting injured and starting out with taking painkillers, which are very, 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 very highly addictive. And what happens is that you start to feel a little bit of pain, and then you pop one of these things, and then what you don't realize is that your body is starting to take you to the abuse level, and you begin to hurt various parts of your body, your kidneys, your liver, and your heart, and then ultimately your brain, and you could die. So then heroin itself, the drug, is the state that a lot of people find themselves in, and we've already discussed very well during these previous weeks about heroin, where it comes from, you know, the whole issue of the war on drugs, which you know, I tell people the approach that has been taking place with this so-called term war on drugs is equivalent to trying to take one of those little, you know, those sifters that you use for flour when you pour something in and you shake it. Well, it's equivalent to trying to fill one of those sifters up with water. And you know what happens. It just never fills up. It just keeps going through the holes. And that's exactly one of the problems. And so we have all kinds of things. It talks about the fact here that professionals, public health professionals, look at this as like just mind-blowing, and it's created not just the issues of being arrested and going to jail, but the health aspects of it, which we're going to share in just a little bit when we start talking about chasing the dragon. And the word epidemic goes with opioid because it's out of hand, and it's hurting people in all financial levels, all races, sexes, national origins. It's one of these things. And so when we look at this video coming up in a minute, you're going to see what's happening and how it brings it to a head. And law enforcement needs to understand that the key is going to be treatment. I discussed that with you with SB 3023 in Illinois. That is a pilot program that and I think we're still waiting for the governor to sign it, because I haven't my sources keep telling me that they haven't gotten it back from the governor. I don't know what the delay is. This is an election year for the governor, so I don't know what the deal is there. But those type of things are going to be beneficial to helping, because the war is being lost. Says law enforcement officers do not have the expertise to deal with treatment. Of course not, but they are the point of contact that people come in, as I was talking about in 3023. And there is already well established that there is a real serious correlation in the amount of crime that takes place and the opioid crisis, because people commit crimes to support their habits. So, and then look at this one down here. Many departments are looking beyond traditional enforcement, such as what I talked about. I talked about this in 2015 in Massachusetts, where it says the department was disturbed by the toll of opioids on the community and how it was affecting, and that the Angel program was launched. And people seeking help for opioids were invited to contact or go to the department, which connected them directly to treatment services, just like what I talked about with 3023. Now, notice this. This is one department in Massachusetts. 2015, guys. It is 2018, but it hasn't spread around. Illinois, and I'm happy to say and proud, is the one state that is developing a process statewide, not just in one department, but statewide. And hopefully other states will catch on to it. And I think that we'll see some positive results with this. You know, one of the key issues with helping individuals who are in this state, in this crisis that we're in, is finances, and that the funds be made available. But look at this. It says those requesting help through the program are not charged with a criminal offense if they're in possession of drugs or drug paraphernalia. That's exactly how SB 3023 operates. The department acts as an entry point. And so, see, what happens is we remove then the stigma of a criminal act of having these drugs, getting help, which then at the same time intercepts possible other criminal acts like robbery, burglary, theft, and those kinds of crimes that people utilize to support their habits. So the bottom line is law enforcement hopefully will begin to recognize this from a issue, as I've advocated for many years to students that I teach, that we have to look at this crisis the same way that we look at a person who goes into a doctor with the flu or with a cold. They're there to be treated for it. Well, these individuals who come into these situations would come even more if they recognize that they could not be prosecuted for it. You know, it's like the thing that you guys probably heard of and seen where people can turn in guns. They have these places and times where you can turn in a gun with no questions asked, and you can because that their objective, yeah, is to get the guns off the street. Well, this is the same kind of thing, is to get the individuals help that will ultimately benefit them in their lives. Okay, so now let's take some time here, and it talks about things that we already know. People don't start using prescription painkillers to become addicts. It's just something that happens because of some other reason. And then once they get caught on it, then you have withdrawals and other issues. And then there's illegal purchases that follow from that. And then the whole quality of life in the families is diminished to the point that it results in some of the things I said earlier, burglary. Prostitution is one of the big areas too. I forgot to mention that. So watch this video and stay with it. It's going to take you beyond our 7:30 time, and then I'm going to come back after that. So I'm going to put the video on, and then I'm going to take my headphones off because
Hi, I'm Jim Comey. I'm the director of the FBI. I'm Chuck Rasmussen. I run the Drug Enforcement Administration. We're talking to you today because we are facing a crisis that is killing far too many people: prescription drug and heroin abuse. Each year, more than 46,000 people die from a drug overdose. That's more people than die from car accidents or from gun violence. Half of those 46,000 deaths are related to opioid abuse. We thought the best approach would be to let you hear the truth. No filter, no censors, just the straight facts from people who have lived with the hard consequences of opioid abuse. You're going to watch unscripted interviews that include some raw emotion and some profanity. You're going to witness real tragedy and learn what happens when drugs take hold of real people and don't let go. You will see that those whose lives are taken over by drug addiction are often kids from stable homes with strong families. Good people who had great childhoods, were given everything they wanted, and had everything going for them. But they took one wrong turn and they were hooked. And once you're hooked, it is so very hard to get off these drugs, and the spiral down is so quick. After you watch this film, we want you to talk about it. We want you to talk to your parents, to your relatives, to your friends, to your brothers and sisters. If you know somebody who's using drugs or even thinking about using drugs, say something. You're going to see that once the addiction starts, it is often too late. By telling somebody, you could be saving a life.
I didn't care. I didn't think about it. I just did it. Once we started getting high, it was done. She was 17 years old, and the only way I knew about it is because she was arrested. Started smoking pot around 18, and I was always offered prescription drugs, so I never would take them. Then I was in a car accident. I was running down in the middle of the night to get some water, fell down the stairs, landed on my back on the wooden floor.
It started for me with pot and just progressed into hell, basically.
Weed didn't do it for me, but definitely weed started it all for me. It was definitely something I didn't see until it was too late. I didn't have a clue what I was getting myself into. So addicted to opiates is like chasing a dragon. You're constantly seeking that first high. But what's going to happen if you actually catch it? Come from a great family, always had what I wanted. Never had a curfew. I could sleep over at my friend's house whenever. I could have done anything. They would pay for me to go to any kind of school, stuff like that, and any kind of pay for guitar lessons. I grew up with my dad. My mom wasn't in my life though. He pretty much was mom and dad throughout the whole life. He would tutor me for at least an hour. On the weekends, we'd go out, we'd go camping, we'd go out on the boats. We always had something planned. She started in gymnastics when she was like a toddler, and she was a cheerleader through middle school, high school, and she was also a competitive cheerleader. She started competing probably in 7th grade. She was a very good student. She was in AP classes, AP honor roll. Worked myself up through the years with minimal college to a position I worked as a corporate account executive. I was making about an average of $122,000 a year. Things were pretty good financially. We were secure. Kids were happy. We had no real issues. Dad was military. Mom was Korean. Everyone I grew up with was the same way. Everyone's parents was military and Korean parents, Korean moms. No, I did martial arts, ballet, gymnastics, did all kinds of stuff. I did piano lessons. I was an honor roll student. Always went to school. I was like 3.43, 3-point average. I had a great childhood. Great family. We did a lot of camping. A lot of fun stuff going to the beach, camping at the beach. Very active in scouting, Boy Scouts, and something my father, me and him did together, a couple days before my 18th birthday. I actually got my Eagle Scout, which was a big accomplishment for me. I met my first husband when I was very young. I was 13. And then we got married at 17. So I got to grow up pretty quick. I was 22 years old, and that's when everything started. I got pregnant with my youngest daughter. Once I had her, they gave me Oxycontin. That was the pain medicine. For them, that's where my addiction started. A friend offers you something at a party or at home, or you're having a bad day and you need something to pick you up, so somebody hands you a pill and says, "Here, this will help you feel better." That's how this problem always starts. I was at a concert, and I was 15 at the time, and I was drinking a beer, so I got a possession alcohol charge. I got put on probation, so I couldn't smoke pot anymore. So I started to panic, and then somebody approached me and said, "Well, here, try this," and it was Oxycontin 80. So I was hobbling into work, and a young lady that worked there used to be a pharmaceutical sales rep, and she had some samples of things. And she said, "Katrina, have you gone to the doctor for this yet?" And I said, "No." So she said, "Well, I have these things. Take one. Not more than that. Go home, take one. And I had a habit every night where I'd go home and have a glass of wine. So I went home that night and I took what she gave me, but instead of taking one, I took two because I didn't even know what they were. And took the two, had my glass of wine, and all of a sudden it just triggered something in my brain, and I would say I became addicted that day. I think the new friends had a really, really big impact. When she got to that fork in the road, you go left or you go right, and I think at that point the friends helped pick the road that she chose. This sounds really appealing. I'm going to try that. But I guess what most people and most kids don't understand is, when you try something, you're not trying it. It's your new path.
I just like the feeling of certain things being high. It wasn't like I'm depressed, so I'm gonna take this to make me feel better. It was kind of like I'm feeling good. I'm gonna try this to see if I can feel even more better.
Started taking 3 at a time, and then I was taking 4 at a time, and then I started taking like 6 at a time, and then I went from taking them orally to shooting them, and that was the end. I went back to the doctor a couple times and got him to refill the medicine to the amount that he couldn't refill it anymore. So then I started buying Oxycontin off the street. From there, Oxycontin started to be more expensive and harder to find. A girlfriend of mine introduced me to heroin. I could get a whole lot more or a whole lot less. And then once I shot up the heroin, that was it from there. My addiction took off, and my daughter was 7 months old when I became physically addicted to heroin intravenously.
I never hesitate to ask them all which drugs they've tried. And they'll typically say, I started off with marijuana, tried cocaine, I've tried oxycodone, and I ask them of all the drugs they've ever tried, what's the most addictive drug? And without a doubt, 100% of the time they'll say the most addictive drug is oxycodone. The drugs, feel like it took my mind over, it made me do things that I, normally brought up not to do, and it just turned me into a monster.
I just went in my medicine cabinet, and my buddy's like, oh, hey, these will get you high. Let's do some. So I was like, okay, he talked me into it right here. I don't have to pay anything, sure. It doesn't even have to be a drug dealer. It could be right in your house. And next thing you know, you're hooked. My friends in the beginning were the friends that didn't do anything, and then I met the crowd that did do stuff. You are who you hang out with. That is for sure. These kids go into it as, I'm just going to go to a party, and hey, they're doing this over here. Let me, I want to fit in. Let me do a little bit, and it's the devil. It gets you. It's that temptation. Hey, this is a fun party over here. It'll suck the life out of you. All I wanted to do, if it had been in front of my face, is do it. It's not just a little pill. Respect the power of that, of that pill. It's just because it's a prescription, it is every bit as deadly and every bit as addictive. I worked at a daycare, taking care of other people's kids. I drove the daycare bus. I had to take their children to school. But before I could drive their kids to school, I was in the bathroom of the daycare, crushing up pills, snorting them, so I could go about my day. The whole time you're sitting there saying you're not a addict, you're not addicted, guess what? You f***ing are. Because why are you taking that hit saying, nah, dude, I quit once in a while. You're addicted. So like, oh, I only smoke weed. I'm not addicted. It's natural. Whatever. There's no whatever. Oh, it's legal now. Stuff. Whatever. First time somebody uses an opiate drug, the euphoria that they get is something that they continue to search for and seek for. So while you could do that in the beginning by just chewing on the drug, over time you can't get that high anymore. So now you have to take it up to the next level. And nobody sets out thinking that they're going to end up being a needle user. But every one of those needle users will tell you that they couldn't get the high anymore doing it the way they were doing. Heroin became my best friend. Heroin became the love of my life. I put heroin before my family. I put heroin before my children. And I thought that I couldn't do nothing in life anymore without heroin. There's absolutely no difference between, in my mind, a heroin addict and a pill addict. We both will do anything to get it. Break the law, do whatever. You're both addicted. You both go through the withdrawals. You both go, it's the exact same thing. It's everywhere. It's in your cabinet somewhere. It could be in your grandparents' cabinet. It could be your friend's mom's cabinet. It could be anywhere. That's pills. But well, heroin could be in a purse somewhere. Who knows? It's all the same. One's just prescribed to you, and one you go cop on the street. There's no way to say no with opiates. It's hard. Real hard. I can tell myself no, 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 but my body, as soon as you think about it, you get anxiety, your palms start to sweat. You know, your mental ignores your physical part of it. I am very angry. And one of the things I'm most angry about, and I tell her all the time, is that drug was so much more important to you than me. And I'm the one that can help you. I'm the one that helps you. I'm the one that supports you. I'm the one that'll always be there for you. You need something, I'm going to be the one to take care of it for you. But something that literally destroyed everything good within you was so much more appealing. Wanted that so much more than anything I could offer her. And I'm angry. I am angry about that. The progression of addiction and the behavior that comes with it is pretty standard, regardless of where you're born, how much money you have, how old you are, what your race is, what your nationality is. You can be the smartest person in the world. The minute that chemical hits your bloodstream, you lose control of what it does in your body. You can't control it. Nobody can control it. I don't care who you are. It's not controllable. I lived in crack houses. It's almost like something you see on TV, an abandoned building with drug paraphernalia everywhere. It might be a piss-stained mattress, and God knows what else is on it. There was actually a place in the city that we were at, and a lady had overdosed in the bathtub. She had died. She was still in the bathtub. We'll just find another room in the house, and that's what my day consisted of. It became my full-time job. The needle was my boss, a very demanding boss. Your whole day revolves around it. You go to sleep doing it, you wake up doing it. You know what I mean? It's like some people smoke after every meal they have. No, they're doing a fresh shot. It's a never-ending vicious cycle. It's the same thing over and over and over. You wake up, all you want to do is find out how you're going to get something. How you're going to get it. You know, it's kind of stupid if you think about it, because I'm wasting all this money stealing from my family and my friends just to do a drug and fall asleep, you know. And then I wake up sick, so I'm like, crap, now I gotta do it all over again, you know. You're still chasing that first high. So, you know, in order to be high, you gotta at least be normal. And to get there, you gotta at least do enough to where you're not sick anymore, so.
Well, usually, like, if I had stuff the day before, I always save a bag for the morning time, so when I wake up, I could get well, and I call it that because in the end, I wasn't using to get high anymore. I was using to stay well, so I wasn't sick. You know, I'm not even getting high. I'm just trying to, you know, be able to get up out of bed. You know, my head was always on my lap. You know, I feel like I've missed a couple of years of my life because it's a lot that it's just a fog, a black fog, because you know I really wasn't there. You know, my addiction level was so bad that I couldn't even function without 40 pills a day. I was ill, like literally every 4 hours, the chills started setting in. And I would wake up and I woke up sick. And that's the way it went all day long. How do you know you're an addict? It's when you're doing something that you know is not good for you, that's harming you, but you can't help yourself. When your relationships are starting to fall apart around you,
and you don't care, and the only thing that's on your mind is about how to get the substance and how to get to the next high, you're an addict. You can't maintain an opiate addiction in a normal life for very long.
I felt like after my first year of using it, I actually got physically addicted to where I actually needed it to wake up and get out of bed, start moving around, take a shower, and that's when I started, stealing from my family, friends, whatever money I had in my pocket was all going to it. I got a $500 paycheck, $500 going to dope.
Because you always tell yourself, whenever you're using drugs, and especially it's like a super addictive one, I'm not addicted. Motherfucker, you're addicted. You know what I mean? Like, you're fucking addicted. You're in denial. You might not be addicted at that point in time, but you're going to keep using, and a month later or 2 months later, you're fucking addicted. At one point, my husband said he would stop putting gas in the van so I could drive the distance to the city to get my drugs. I said, well, I'll show you. I'm going to move to the city. So I don't need my van, and I don't need gas money because the dope dealers are going to be living right here with me. And that's what I did. I ran away from home. You will be high and put yourself in situations that you will get hurt. Someone will take advantage of you. You'll be knocked out, it's going to happen. You're going to get hurt.
Some people who have money and they don't have to steal for it, and then you meet other people who, just pawn their family's TV and is coming to get high and then deal with consequences later.
She stole checks from her grandmother and signed them. She stole my debit card, and it wasn't nailed down, it was in a pawn shop. She spent $800 a week. My daughter, who had, everything handed to her, could have gone anywhere in the world, very book smart, very motivated, worked at a strip club. My little girl degraded herself just to get that. Women turn to prostitution, which I've done myself. Guys will steal. They'll rob you right in front of you. I've seen guys take guns out on dealers and steal and rob everything from them, not even worrying about if they get shot or end up in jail. People get raped. People get killed over stupid. It's now I can say it's just a drug. But when you're getting high, it's not just a drug.
The best thing that can happen to someone who's addicted to oxycodone is that they can be arrested. That's the best thing. The best thing is they can be arrested and go to jail. Everything other than that is worse. It's going to end in a bad way.
You're going to get caught eventually, so I just didn't think it was going to be me. I was just thinking, they must have screwed over the wrong person. They got caught because they weren't careful enough.
She was pulled over. I searched the car, and she had a quantity of pills. At that point, she was smoking them, so there was some type of a pipe device in it. So she was arrested, and she was a convicted felon at the age of 18. I have 4 kids. My youngest son will be 1 this month. I've been locked up for freaking 8 months. First time I got locked up this year, he was 2 weeks old. Don't even know my kid. My other 3 are in foster care right now. I never thought any of this would ever happen to me. The only thing I care about is my kids. Like, my kids are suffering. It's not me. I give two shits because I'm suffering. I mean, yeah, it sucks. But it's like, my kids, they didn't do anything in this. My parents, they got to come visit me through, I don't even get it, through a window. They get through a camera. They're a little camcorder. That sucks. It's not worth it. Losing your freedom sucks. You have somebody tell you when to get up, when to shower, when you eat, what you eat, and you have to worry about the other people that are in here for, life, and they don't care about you. I was supposed to go to court November 2011, and the judge was supposed to let me go. He gave me the maximum, which ended up being 23 months, 2 years instead of the 10 months. And at the time, I was so angry. In retrospect, I'm very thankful because I would have, I know for 100% certainty, I would have gone right back up and done it again.
I got kicked out of my house, and I met your neighborhood friendly drug dealers who are like, oh, you can crash on this couch. And, of course, they'd give me stuff here and there, but it wasn't ever enough for me to even enjoy it, so that made me run fake prescriptions.
You don't think about anything. You don't think about anybody you're hurting. You don't think about before and after. You don't think 7 dudes in all black are running up in your house. You don't think you're coming down the stairs. You don't think anything. You don't think any of that.
Every generation seems to have their drug of choice. Unfortunately, this generation seems to have found prescription opiates as that drug of choice. And even more unfortunately, the consequences of those drugs are far more devastating than anything else we've seen in the past. Chemically and physiologically speaking, there's very little difference between oxycodone, morphine, and heroin. It's just that one comes in a prescription bottle and another one comes in a plastic bag.
In the beginning, I would always try and get pills because you know what you're getting. You know it's always going to be the same thing. And then eventually that just got too expensive, So then you'd go for heroin because it's cheaper, but you take that risk of getting really good stuff and overdosing, or getting fake stuff, or just stuff that isn't good enough to even get you well.
A lot of my friends were trying heroin, to get the same high from the Oxycontin, and it was cheaper, and so of course I got into it, and it just grabbed me.
I can tell you this, that I think she was able to access more heroin easily than the pills. When she was using one or using the other, she was the same horrible, difficult person.
I always said that I would never touch heroin ever in my life, and it was prescription drugs that led me to try heroin. Prescription drugs are the same thing. It's an opiate. You can get 4 shots for the price of 1 pill, and it's a dirty drug because you never know what you're going to get. People can cut it with something that can kill you. That's how most people overdose, is that it's cut with something bad.
The doctor asked me, he said, where are you getting your heroin from? I said, I'll never tell you who I'm getting it from. He said, I don't want to know from who. He said, I want to know from where. And he said, well, let me tell you what you're shooting at. He says, you're shooting scramble heroin. And they're using meat tenderizer as a cutting agent. And it's not like, a bag of heroin comes with ingredients on the back. Of course, you trust your drug dealer that he's going to just, keep you coming back to him. But he claims he didn't know either. That's how he got it. But, yeah, so it eats everything away underneath.
In here, they shoot up meat tenderizer, and they have, big, blue, black marks. I'm like, what the f*** is that? I'm like, oh, that's meat tenderizer. You've got a few of them. What do you mean? You didn't learn? No, you don't learn. Because it's from the eye. It doesn't matter.
A lot of my friends have had abscesses. They might get a staph infection, which turns into MRSA, or, Hep C. And, if that's your only needle, that's your only needle, so you're going to use it again.
At one point, I had an abscess in my leg that was so bad. I had staph infection. My leg was like 4 times its normal size. When the doctors cut my leg open to clean it out, I had maggots in my leg. They were eating the rot, the infection. That wasn't enough for me to quit. As I was admitted to the hospital, they gave me a PICC line, which is an IV line. I had the dope dealer come into the hospital and shooting heroin into my IV line. I have contracted hepatitis C from sharing needles with people that I don't know who. I shot up toilet water because I didn't want to spend any money to go buy a bottle of water, so we would stop at public restrooms and use toilet water to mix with it to shoot it up, rainwater to the side of the road, and just hook it up to the needle and shoot our dope. I didn't care what it was going to do to me later on. Just I wanted the feeling of it right then and there. Withdrawal for the individuals that are taking the heroin that's available now looks like extraordinary physical, muscular pain, and very few people can actually manage it.
Like, you know, when your whole body hurts when you have the flu, and like, just it's like 15 times worse than that. Opiates, you're getting sick. I don't know who you think you are if you think you're stronger than some dope, because you're not. You know what I mean? Your body's going to give in, your mind's going to give in, your judgment's going to give in, you're going to bow. And that's just the way it is. That's the way it is. That withdrawal is...
You feel like you just want to die when you're going through that. At that point, you're willing to do anything to get that next high so you can just feel normal.
I mean, I remember her in her room crying and just busting her room up, screaming at me, just get me a little. Just get me a little so I can stop. No. Feels like your skin's crawling and you can't sit still and you'll do anything to make it stop.
You can't move. You constantly sneeze. Your whole body aches. It hurts. People are crapping on themselves. People are puking on themselves who are doing both at the same time. You would probably rather be dead than have to actually go through a withdrawal. It was horrific. I was sitting on the toilet, diarrhea, vomiting on the floor, so weak I couldn't even move. I just lay there like, I don't want to eat, drink, nothing.
It's just something that I never ever want to experience again. It is the worst feeling ever, and I wouldn't wish that feeling upon my worst enemy. That's how bad it is.
Every day I come to work knowing that somebody died. And more times than not, we have at least one prescription drug or other substance abuse case. Your friends, your family will find you dead, and then what happens? And then that is the image that they get stuck with for the rest of their lives. I lost several friends to heroin and prescription pill overdose.
I know 2 people on a personal level that had died from it.
You know, one time my friend, she got out of here. She wasn't even out 6 days. She was dead. One of my friends, she took her normal dose and OD'd. Her sister found her with a needle in her arm in her room, which was not good.
The day that I overdosed, I was having a hard time finding a vein, and a girlfriend of mine said, well, just go in your neck, and you have your jugular vein. And I said, okay. It didn't let me push all the heroin in, and instantly it killed me. When the ambulance got there, they gave me a shot of Narcan, and I was non-responsive to the Narcan, which is adrenaline, and that's to, jumpstart your heart. And it didn't work. So they had to use the defibrillator, and that's where they shock your heart back. They got a pulse. They got me to the hospital. I was still kind of in and out of it. But when I came to, I unhooked the IV from the pole, and unhooked all these little things they had on me, and I walked right out and got in my van. And I showed up to the dope dealer with the gallon one, these things stuck all over me, the IV in my arm. He sold me heroin, the same heroin that just killed me. I utilized the IV a couple times before I turned it back in. I have nowhere really to shoot, so that was a freebie. So everything came to a head. I was writing prescriptions and full on with my addiction, and I ended up getting caught and going to jail. And while I was in jail, my daughter got involved with some friends. From what I understand, her friends were all doing prescription pills. I had no idea. I didn't even know it was a problem. I just thought it was my problem. And she said, "Mom, you don't have any right to talk. Look at you. Look where you are." The person you saw where it put me, I can't imagine you would do the very same thing that I did. I was like, how? You know, it just didn't make sense. I would go to the doctor's office every time with her, twice a week going for her. And usually it works because she'll go look at me and after my prescription they give it to her. And so I went in there and I asked and next thing you know, she got arrested and then she called me saying that I had a warrant for me. I said, why would you make me go in and do that? Like, it's your own daughter, knowing that she can get caught and get killed. And she said she was sorry because that she didn't realize how bad her addiction was. Health person. When I talked to her, she didn't even say goodbye. She must have nodded off the phone because I heard like a, it was Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon. I was in the jail and they came down and told me they needed to see me. And I went up and because her father and I were both arrested for the same thing, we were both there, so I saw him coming. And the detectives came and told us that she, you know, what had happened, an apparent overdose, and that she was, initially they said she'd passed, and then they said she was in ICU, struggling for life. They wanted me to, talk to the doctor, and the doctor recommended I disconnect all life support, and I refused. And then 7 resuscitation efforts, I guess, and eventually, that morning she passed away. At her funeral, most all the kids were high. This is real. And I will say, because I remember being that teenager too, so I know it's like their market, but it's real. And once, I think I'm still in shock. Like it is hard. I don't even know how to put it into words. Maybe that's why I'm able to deal with it, because it's so mind-numbing. That someone you love that much, she's my first love. So when you love that much, you can lose like that, and you can't go back and say I'm sorry or set a better example or talk them out of it, and I know she didn't want to go. I know that's not what she wanted. I know that she had, all these things that she wanted to do, and I know that as they resuscitated her through the night, that was her way of clinging to life, But I love my children more than anything in the world. I will walk through fire for them. And I know a lot of parents feel that way. But you can't feel that way. You have to understand what you're dealing with is not your child. I put my own child in jail to stop her from this. And that's not an easy decision to make. It's not a fun decision. Nobody wants to know that they're, a little girl sitting in jail. But she was 7 months clean, eating healthy, getting her rest, no drugs. My son, my nephew, my mother, and I went together. And she came out and she was healthy. Everything was great. Everything was great. There were no problems, no fighting, no talking about, Mom, I'm feeling funny. I need to go to a meeting. Nothing. Everything was just that little girl at 16 before all this stuff started. That's who she was. And then she asked to go to the store to get back cigarettes. And she came home, said, "Oh, Mom, I'm sorry I was late. They didn't have my cigarettes. I had to go to another gas station." Okay, and things fine. So I'm cooking dinner, and I'm like, "You want to help me cook?" She's like, "Nah, I don't want to help you cook." She would go in my room and watch TV, and she was so bubbly, like nothing. Nothing was wrong. And she went upstairs, and it was maybe 40 minutes cooking dinner. Dinner was done. I'm hollering for the kids. My son and nephew come down, and Sierra didn't come down. I mean, she fell asleep or something. I go upstairs and knocking and knocking and knocking on the doors, no answer. I open that door, and my little girl is on the floor dead. And I remember when I pushed on her chest, I heard that last breath. I heard I was in my kitchen cooking dinner, and that happened 17 steps up, and I had no idea that when she left this house, that was going to happen. And I spend my Sundays looking at a gray headstone and a patch of grass. I will be spending my Christmases there, her birthdays there, all my holidays, because she took that wrong turn.
My girlfriend Sierra, she passed away a year ago this month, and from heroin. And that's a constant big reminder in my head that if I even pick this stuff up once, it's gonna kill me. And there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about her, and not morning that I wake up and I don't wish that she was laying there beside me. She was my best friend. We went to high school together. I met her in high school. I'm sorry. I just miss her a lot. She was here with me.
Sierra came home on February 12th. Sierra died February 18th. She got out, still calling her. It's that powerful that you could spend 7 months clean, and being educated on nothing but how to beat it, how bad it is for you, all this in the last 6 days. The spiral down is so fast, it doesn't take much. And I lost everything. I lost my daughter, first and foremost, but I lost pictures, every material possession I had. I had never been in trouble in my life. I'm now a felon at 41 years old. So all that work I did, all those dreams I had, it's like I'm starting over again with a huge weight on my shoulders, all for a pill. My dad doesn't even trust me anymore, which is hard because my dad's always trusted me my whole life. I've never had my dad look at me with disappointment before I did this. I'm a criminal, I'm an addict. That's how everybody will always perceive me. Listen to what they say no. Just say no. That you're not uncool for saying no. You're more cool for saying no, I think. I wish I could have said no. If I could go back and do it all over, I would definitely go back and say no.
physically hooked, but that's because I never gave it a chance to stop. And I really learned how to enjoy life without drugs. As much as I wanted to quit, I was too scared to ask for help. I don't want to freak my parents out by telling them I'm hooked on some hardcore drug. It didn't kill me like everyone told me.
It's not worth it, and it will get you. You're no different than anybody else. It will destroy your life. You will end up in a jail. You'll end up dead, or you'll be in some crazy institution for the rest of your life. And that's serious, and that's for real. And it took me coming to jail, being incarcerated, and it took me missing my mom's funeral, missing my children grow up. It's taken all of this because nobody in their right mind would turn their back on their dying mom for a drug. I want to be that loving and caring mom that my mom was to me, to my girls. I don't want them to hate me, to resent me. I don't want them to be embarrassed by me anymore.
If you want to fail the rest of your life, if you want to be in and out of jail, if you want to possibly lose everything that matters to you, go ahead, go get high. Go ahead. If you want to be happy, you want to freaking get married, like every good part of my life, I wasn't getting high. You know, every good part of my life, I was getting high. Any drug addict will tell you that. If you want to be a funky, go ahead and get high. Go ahead and do it. But I've been there, done that, and I wouldn't recommend it.
Sierra did not take life for granted until she started using. It is much stronger than you, and it will win. It will win because this doesn't just affect you. It affects everybody in your family for the rest of their life. That we're the ones stuck here, missing you. And there's help out there. You gotta take it. Don't think you can do it alone because you can't. And your parents aren't the enemy. They just want the best for you.
It's something I want to deal with for the rest of my life. To be honest, I actually just relapsed about a month ago, and used for about a month, and I have a week. I had a week clean on Wednesday, and that's something that just shows how powerful this disease is. For me to lose somebody a year ago, not even a year ago, but I'm already using it. How powerful this stuff is. I just try my best to stick with it, because I know it will kill me. Just something I work at every day. It'll take you to hell and back, and if you're lucky, you'll make it back. It's just not worth it at all. If I could go back, and if I knew what I knew now about this, and if I could go back, I would do it all different. Starting with that first pill, I wouldn't touch it.
about it. Very lengthy video, very informative video, very detailed video, very real video. This is an assignment this week that you will never forget. And I did run this beyond the class, but I wanted to make sure that you got it. Again, I'm going to say good night, but before that, I want to give you the key word. You probably already could figure it out. Chasing the dragon. Chasing the dragon. Again, okay. Just want to make sure that you get it. Yeah, it's sad that people find themselves in the situation that they're in, but you know what? It's called that because what happens is you're chasing. It's like a person trying to catch up with their shadow. Or you never see a dog chasing the shadow. You're never going to get there. This thing, once you get on it, hooks you, and it just sucks you in, sucks all the life out of you. And so you find yourself a different individual than the one that that came into this world. You find yourself even as a person who had a bright future with no future. You find your whole life turned upside down, and very few, once they get into it, actually escape. And even those who do escape, the road that they go through, if you paid attention to that book I shared with you last week by Tim Ryan, it is right here again, from dope to hope, a man talking about recovery, and you see these kind of things happening in his book to him. So it's a very real situation. Everybody is subjected to it, and famous last words of many is, "It's not going to happen to me," but you see how simply it starts. So I invite you to take time to answer these questions. Also, provide yourself with some research and put together a powerful paper. I remember last quarter I taught this, and students still remember that, the effects that they saw. Think about it. Think about it. It's affected every one of us at some point or another. We either had a family member, a neighbor, or a friend. So with that, I'm going to say good night. I've already given you the phrase thank you, and hope to see you guys next week for the final session that we will be having. And like I said, this is an emotional one here. If it doesn't touch you, then something's wrong. This is really, really, really the ultimate, and we need, as criminal justice professionals, to be sensitive to what is going on here and how innocently, how easily you can be trapped. So, good night.